Hi everyone, and welcome to Jane Talks Trek, where I'll be talking about and reviewing an episode of the original series, The Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, or Enterprise. Today, I'm looking at Repentance from Voyager's 7th season, or as I like to call it, that time Voyager talked capital punishment. This episode was requested by Alistair Boneman. Thank you for the suggestion, and let's get going. We begin the episode with a ship in distress, so the passengers are beamed aboard, who turn out to be dangerous criminals and their guards, and one holds Seven hostage, and into the credits we go. The guy wants a ship, so Tuvok and Warden Yedick show up to help, but Seven is bored, and now the Doctor is grabbed. So Tuvok shoots straight through him. Yedick tells Janeway that the prisoners are en route to be executed for being murderers, which doesn't sit well with Janeway and Chakotay, but Prime Directive and all that jazz. The dock is glitching due to being shot, and this ass-face threatens to kill everyone if he's not released. So they're moved to a prison that Tuvok whipped up, and of course Neelix is immediately on hand to feed everyone. The dock is not happy with the whole thing and says they should have life in prison, but Seven argues that takes too many resources, and execution is much more efficient. The dock thinks they could be rehabilitated, but Seven says the victims lost their lives, so they aren't going to get the same luxury.
Killing is wrong, no matter who's doing it.
Aiko causes a fuss over the food, so Yedick goes to break things up, and Aiko threatens to kill Yedick's children, so I hope at no point we're expected to root for this ass-face. The guards beat his ass, so the Voyager security step in, and Janeway tells Yedick off and puts Tuvok in charge of the prisoners.
Tuvok has been a Starfleet security officer for a very long time. Believe me, he's qualified.
I hope you're right.
Aiko ends up back in sickbay needing life-saving surgery, which Seven argues is redundant seeing as he's about to be executed anyway, but the doc says he's not going to die on Voyager. Neelix is back feeding everyone again and has a chat with Joleg, who seems nice, and implies he's innocent, arrested for a murder due to his race, which doesn't sit well with Neelix, who does some research on the matter, but Tom, having been in prison himself, reminds him that anyone can make up a story. Aiko suddenly feels unwell despite the successful surgery because he's apparently feeling guilty due to Seven's nanoprobes and wants them removed. The doc says it's possible that Aiko could have been reformed by the procedure, and Aiko wants Seven to stop and chat and rambles on about stars and junk, which Seven is mildly interested in. Neelix plays Catascot with Joleg, and he explains that the victim's family decides the punishment, not a judge, and the family can be bribed if you're rich enough, which Joleg isn't, and Neelix wants to help, so promises to send a letter to Joleg's brother. Seven goes to see Aiko to give him information on stars, and he asks about her Borg implants, and he says he hurt people like the Borg did and deserves his punishment. But the doc interrupts and says Aiko had a brain defect from birth to make him violent and murderous, but the nanoprobes have now repaired that.
You've activated his conscience.
The doc thinks he can now be rehabilitated, so him and Seven go to Yedick to plead his case. And he's not impressed, but agrees to talk to the family. Aiko doesn't want the appeal because he's a killer, but Seven says she's just like him because she was a killer when she was Borg, but now she's not. But he wants to go back to his cell, where he asks Neelix to give his dinner to the prisoner whose dinner he used to steal. Yedick reports that the family has refused to consider Aiko's appeal, which pisses off Seven, and Janeway calls her out for trying to make herself feel better. The ship gets attacked, which messes with the power, freeing all the prisoners, but Aiko doesn't want to participate, and the attacking ship tries to beam out some of the prisoners, and Joleg holds Yedick hostage in an attempt to make an escape. Aiko convinces him to hand over his weapon, which he then gives to Yedick so he can neutralize the threat, and because of his act of mercy, Yedick convinces the victim's family to reconsider, and Aiko is able to talk to them.
If my death helps you find peace, I can accept it. But if you let me live, I will never hurt anyone again.
Neelix goes to see Joleg, who tricked him into revealing Voyager's location, which got them attacked, and he tries to pull an Aiko, so Neelix walks off. Aiko gets to see the stars in astrometrics, and Seven says he can stay on Voyager if his appeal is successful, but Janeway delivers the bad news that it's been rejected. Seven says the whole thing is unfair because she never got punished as a drone.
You lost 20 years of your life to the Borg. I'd say that's punishment enough.
I'm not gonna lie, if I'm rewatching Voyager, I'll skip this episode because I don't really like it. I mean, it's an interesting idea with an ethical dilemma that Star Trek does so well, but I don't know, there's something about it that I just can't connect with. Maybe it's because Jeff Kober creeps me out because of the roles he's played, so I can't feel hugely sorry for him. Or maybe because it's a 7 of 9 is really serious episode, which I don't tend to enjoy, but yeah, not a fan. Like I said, it's a good idea, and the speech Iko gives to try and save his own life is really powerful. But the side plot with Neelix and Joleg is kinda disappointing, because it seemed like it was onto something but threw it away in order to focus on Iko's arc, and makes Neelix seem really naive. The episode does make you think, especially with Iko's condition, but to be honest, I'd probably do the same as the family did. He may have had a medical condition that's now fixed, but it doesn't make your loved one any less murdered. Also, I don't understand why Voyager didn't just go drop off the prisoners. I know it's a 3-day detour, but the transport ship took longer than that to get to them, which seems like a safety concern. Or they could have at least started back and have the transport come to meet them, cutting down the time spent having to transport dangerous criminals, but plot got a plot, I suppose. So there you have it. That was Repentance. If there's an episode of Star Trek you'd like me to cover, pop it down in the comments below or come say hi on social media. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button, it really does mean a lot. Or consider subscribing if you want to be assimilated into my channel. Alternatively, feel free to check out my other YouTube channels. Thank you so much for watching, I'll speak to you soon, and live long and prosper.